Hi, welcome back to the Quilted Gardener. Take number 2. I swear I'm allergic to the rain. My allergies go insane every time it rains. So, first time I tried this, I just kept coughing and snorting. So, starting over. Today's project for me is what I'm calling the jelly roll cake. It is a jelly roll, or no, layer cake, haha, and a jelly roll. So, this one is the Fleur Doris by Connecting Threads. And I had the magazine the other day, and I'd said I didn't know where Connecting Threads fabrics were made. It says on the tag that it is made with 100% American-grown cotton, and it is 100% cotton. They call it a stack pack, not a layer cake, and there's 40 pieces in it. They're $29. What everybody refers to as a jelly roll, they just call it a strip set, and it's also $29. And the fabric is very soft. There's no sizing in it, really. Unfortunately, they put pinked edges on it, which we all know just makes a huge mess. And just in the last few minutes of moving things around, I have thread crumbs everywhere, and I have a fan going because I don't want to have another hot flash like last time melting down on camera. Lots of ice water today. So the fan has blown it everywhere. It's all down the front of me, and of course I have on black pants too. So this quilt, I have not done another version of it, so when it's done I'll show you what it looks like and then go through the steps of what it was. I'm hoping it's just going to be one of those quick make a top in a day thing. I really want to see what I can get size-wise out of a layer cake and a jelly roll, or a stack and a strip set. So, and I really liked these colors. They're fall colors. I need, a quilt. It's at least queen size for the upstairs front bedroom, guest bedroom, because I don't have one that goes in there. And I'm not going to do this as quilt as you go, which I normally do with layer cakes. But I'm thinking in my head different ways to do this block-wise, and I sort of have it down, but not 100%. Because the one way I'm thinking of doing it, I know I've seen that pattern somewhere else. I don't know the name of it because I don't sit around and look up patterns and go, "Oh, I'm going to make that." I have books that I've looked through them for inspiration, but I can't follow a pattern. I'm just not wired that way. And cutting something, 2 7/8, why not just make it 3 inches? I just don't understand it. For me, patterns need to be simple, easy to follow, not 14 pages long, not 10,000 different pieces that have to be cut with special rulers or templates or die sets or whatever. The simpler the better for me. And I'm sure that's the same way for a lot of you, especially for beginners. You're a beginning quilter, you don't have, all the little fancy gadgets. You have a cutting mat, a rotary cutter, maybe just a pair of scissors and a straight edge. I mean, you don't have to have, the Missouri Star 2.5 inch by, 8 inch template. You can literally use a metal yardstick. Instead of, I have another one over there that I'm not going to get up and get, that is 5.5 by 24 inches. It's a template, which I do use that a lot when I'm downstairs cutting. If I'm not using my Fiskars all-in-one, which is the one that I use the most for cutting orders because it's way faster. It's just, the cutter and the ruler and everything are straight edge are right there together, and then I have a huge 3 foot by 4 foot mat that maybe it's longer than that. No, it's 3 foot by 4 foot that I use to cut orders with for straights edges. I cannot cut a panel with it because panels, when they're put on the bolt, they get stretched out. If you watch the Donna Jordan video tour that I put up earlier today, you'll see what a bolter looks like. They have one themselves for fabric they had printed, and I like the fact that they said they did have it printed in Japan. And the majority of the fabrics that come from Japan are the ones that have, the metallic accents on them. And it does take a special chemical for that to be set. Sorry, my eyes are just kind of off today, too. And we just don't do that here in the U.S. because of the cost, unfortunately. So, as I said, going forward, there's only a few lines that I'm going to carry because of I'm not knowing what's in those fabrics. And like I said, every time I'm cutting them, my fingers get really sore and I have respiratory issues after I cut a lot, especially anything with metal looking finishes on them. So I'm just not sure what that chemical is that they're using to set it. Obviously, I can't wash all that fabric because I'm sending it out. For you who purchase it, I kind of recommend washing it. And the best way to do that for yardage is to just run a stitch line on both ends that are cut before you put it in the washing machine. It'll help it stop from getting all those threads bound off of it. Also, opening up fully, you can put it inside of a laundry bag to keep it from getting so wound up and tied up. That helps a lot. And then when you put it in your dryer, put it on low. Don't dry it 100%. Get it to a damp state. Take it out of the dryer. Smooth it all out. And that's a really good time to iron it then, is when there's still that dampness to it. It'll just help you get the wrinkles out faster. And if you want to put sizing on it, or Best Press or Niagara starch, then you can do it at that point using a dry iron or a steam iron. I don't recommend one over the other because it depends on what you're doing. Steam helps me a lot, and dry ironing sometimes just will not get the wrinkle out. So it is your choice, but with the fabrics that are metallic, I would say pre-wash them. Just for the fact that, the more I cut them, the more of a reaction I'm having in my fingers. Because I do have scleroderma in my hands. I don't know if you can really tell today. Kind of. They get really red and irritated and swollen, like my wedding ring is kind of stuck to my finger. I'm going to be soaking that into my sweater here pretty soon. But the more I cut them, as time goes on, I've noticed I sneeze more, I cough more, I have have to use my inhaler more, and then my fingertips especially, get very, very irritated and tender. So I'm assuming it has to do with the chemical reaction that I'm having. Not really sure, but to be on the safe side, I would say wash it. Even if you just do, a good rinse with, some borax or whatever you use to wash your quilt with, do it in the sink. Sometimes that helps to reduce, the fraying on the ends also. But stitching across that end, both sides where it's cut, and then putting it in a laundry basket really does help stop that fraying issue. I mean, you're going to have it because obviously you're not going to be able to get right up against the edge unless you have a serger, which is a good idea, too, if you have that available to you. And then the laundry basket just keeps it, or laundry bag, keeps it from getting so tangled up and twisted, and then the bazillion wrinkles in it. So on that note, back to the connecting threads. The fabric, I had gotten a other stack from them, and it was solids, and it felt very coarse and grainy. I wasn't happy with it. This one, the Fleur de Riz, I guess that's how you say it. It doesn't have sizing in it. It does not have a stiff feeling to it. It has a really good weave. Here's the front side, and then here's the back side. So it has a really good dye saturation like our old fabric used to. Used to be cotton, you could use either side, kind of like a batik. It would just be a lighter coloration from the actual right side of the fabric, which for those of you who are new, this is the right side. This is the wrong side, or the back side, however you want to say it. But right sides are the sides that are the brightest. Now on boutiques, there's not really a right side, wrong side type thing. You can, I mean, definitely look to see if one side is lighter than the other, because sometimes if it's not a really well-made boutique, it will be. High-end boutiques, you can't tell the difference between front and back. That's why they cost more, because they do use a lot more dye in them, and then the process that they use to put the design on them is a lot more labor intensive, because boutiques are not produced by a machine. It's not printed on there. It's not woven in there. The fabric is made, and then they go back and they use a process where they use stamps, and a lot, the high-end boutique is hand stamped. And then they go back through another dye process after that stamp has been put on, and sometimes the stamp will have something on there to remove color or add color. It just depends on the pattern. So that's why there's a big price range difference in boutiques. The lower end stuff, it has a right and wrong side. The coloration is not good. It will bleed color really bad. The higher end, higher prices boutiques, that one you can't tell the difference between the front and the back. The design is prevalent both sides, and it does not have as much bleed of color when you wash it. So on boutiques, depending on how much you spent per yard or per fat quarter or whatever, that really is your indicator of should you wash it before or not. And it is your preference. If you want to wash all your fabric before you start cutting it and making a quilt, then by all means do it. Just know that you're going to have a lot more steps than just taking it and starting making the quilt top, because you have to wash it, you have to dry it, you have to press it, probably more than once, and then get your basic shapes cut, and probably press it again, and then do your final shape cut. Whether you're doing squares or triangles, or you're using it, on a Sizzix or an AccuQuilt. I will tell you, if you're using the die set cutters, AccuQuilt, Sizzix, there's another one out there, Cricut maybe. The fabrics really do better in those dies if they are heavily starched, either with Best Pressed or Niagara. I use Niagara sizing, actually. It just helps it keep its shape. So just know that when you're using a die cutter like that, and you've washed your fabric, to starch it when you iron it. And yes, you are ironing it. You're not pressing it, because you're going to be steamrolling some wrinkles out of there after you get it out of the dryer. I speak from experience on that one. So, and if you buy fabric, like this one, it would probably do okay in a die cutter. If I were, if I had put some stabilizer on it. But with as soft as it is, and you can, on a Sizzix you can cut up to 8 layers. I've never done that. The most I've done is 6. I've tried 8. It did not work out well. So if it's not sized well, or have the starch base to it, you will get a lot of frayed edges generally, because the more you use your dies, of course, the less sharp they are. And I will do a demonstration on those here pretty soon, because I have a Sizzix. I had an AccuQuilt Go Baby, and I hated it, just for the fact that it just wasn't doing what I needed. So I have the Quilters Pro Sizzix set. So it'll cut up, it'll cut a layer cake, or not a layer cake, a strip set, no problem, because I have the extended 25-inch tray on there, and I have 25-inch dies for 2.5-inch and 1.5-inch strips for that. And I've not really bought a lot more dies. I have, the 5-inch square. I have some applique dies that I've used. I'm not a huge appliquer, because I really think I bought the wrong kind of sizing. It's a very heavy sizing, which is on the quilt that will be a Quilt As You Go sashed video. And you'll see those up close again. And then I have a few others that it's like, oh, I wasn't thinking on that when I bought those, because, well, they would have to be hand appliqued, because there's just no way I could do it on my machine and it looked good. So I've not used those. Um, and I may be giving my baby AccuQuilt baby quilt thing, whatever it's called, AccuQuilt baby go or something like that. I'll probably be giving that away, um, just because I never use it. It sits on the shelf and collects dust. So that'll probably be another giveaway once I hit, I don't know, let's just say 500 subscribers. Um, I'm going to continue to do giveaways on this channel. As far as the second channel, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do everything on this channel. You'll be able to tell I'm learning how to do, excuse me, thumbnails, so you know right up front what my video is about. And it'll, if it's a health video dealing with, immune issues or cardiovascular issues or anything health-wise, you'll know that because it'll be right there on the thumbnail. Same way with my gardening videos. I just want one channel. I don't want to have to deal with two. I have one, two, I have 3 Facebook groups now. One of them I don't even do anything with, or I may have already deleted it. I have the D-Stash with class, and then I have QPI. So it's just myself and Sharon who admin the D-Stash with class, and then Sharon, Beth, Judy, and myself on QPI. And then YouTube, it's just me. So I really don't want 2 channels to have to deal with. So I'm going to learn the proper way. Sorry, my eyes are just itching so bad from the rain. The proper way to make thumbnails so that you do know up front what the video is about. So remember to like, subscribe, and share. And by subscribing, you get put into the giveaway that I will choose in approximately a month from whatever day it was that I posted. I think it was Wednesday. And that's $100+ giveaway. And there possibly could be 2 of them because I have a lot of short cuts down there that are end of bolt type things, and then some stuff that I haven't had on the store for a while that I want to get rid of because it's taking up shelf space. It's not even in the store anymore. I took it out of inventory. So that's how you get in on the giveaway, is by subscribing. And today you're looking at my lupus face. This is called a mylar rash, butterfly rash. I don't know why it's called a butterfly because those are pretty. I call it Mothra from Hell rash because it looks like a moth to me. But it goes up the bridge of your nose and across underneath both your eyes, and it kind of has a butterfly look to it, but I don't think it's pretty. Fortunately, I've been lucky in that I haven't scarred from it. A lot of people do. So, but those mostly have discoid lupus, and I have systemic lupus erythematosus. So, I will be doing a video on that later today. After I sew for a little while, I need some sewing therapy. We've had storms for the last 2 days. In the middle of the night, last night it was like the Exorcist bed going off. And the thunder was so hard, my bed was shaking. It was pretty weird. And then just torrential downpour rain. Good Lord. It was like buckets dropping. Not so much a huge amount of lightning. There was lightning, heat lightning, that kind of thing. But a ton of thunder. So, and then like I said, every time it rains I stuff up. My eyes get itchy and swollen. And today is Friday the 13th with a full moon. So I'll probably be up all night. Because of that, the moon affects me really weird. And that'll be in my other video that I'm going to film today. So that's about it for today. Like I said, I'll show you what this quilt top looks like when I'm done with it and how I did it. I'm sure it has another name, but I'm just calling it the jelly roll cake because it's a jelly roll and a layer cake. I'm not going to call it a strip and stack. That's, who knows? But I'm not following a pattern. I'm making up as I go, so I'm not taking anybody's pattern. I haven't looked it up. I haven't read anything on it. So I haven't even been on my Pinterest in a while. I need to do that. I got tons and tons of notifications, but I haven't done anything with it. So that's it for this quilting video update kind of thing. Next video will be a health one, and then the video after that will be what this quilt top looks like before it's quilted, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's quilted. Like I said, I'm not Jenny Doan, I'm not Donna Jordan, Eleanor Burns. Although I do sometimes just take fabric and throw it over my shoulder if it pisses me off. So that's it for today. Have a good one. Create well.